This coupon looks fake. We don't accept these here. The young cashier, barely out of his teens, pushed the piece of paper back across the counter with a flick of his wrist. His name tag read, Kevin. Arthur Johnson, a man whose silver hair hinted at his 60-plus years, looked at the coupon and then back at Kevin. He kept his voice soft and even. It's a valid veterans discount coupon, son, issued by the National Veterans Support Network. I got it in the mail just last week. Kevin snorted, a small, unpleasant sound. Yeah, right. National Veterans Support Network. Sounds made up. Lots of people try to scam us with fake discounts. Especially you older folks, no offense. Arthur felt a familiar weariness settle over him. He wasn't looking for a fight. He just wanted to buy the gardening supplies, some bags of soil, a few sturdy shovels, and packets of seeds. They were for the new community garden he was helping to start at the local youth center, a place for kids to learn about growing things, about patience and reward. If you believe every veteran deserves respect, type honor in the comments below. He wore simple, clean clothes, a plaid flannel shirt and denim jeans. Nothing about him screamed war hero or decorated officer. He looked like any other grandfatherly man running errands on a Tuesday morning, and that, Arthur knew, was often the problem. People judged by what they saw, not by what a person carried inside them. It's not fake, Arthur repeated, his calmness starting to fray just a tiny bit around the edges. Could you perhaps check with your manager? Kevin rolled his eyes dramatically. Look, old-timer, I am the manager on duty right now, and I'm telling you, this piece of paper is worthless. Pay full price or leave the items. He gestured dismissively at the small pile of goods on the counter. Other customers in line were starting to stare. Arthur felt a flush creep up his neck. He hated scenes. He had spent a lifetime avoiding them, preferring quiet resolve and direct action when needed, but never public confrontation. Young man, Arthur said, his voice a little firmer now, I assure you, this is a legitimate program. Many businesses honor it. It's a small way of saying thank you to those who served. Served what? Coffee? Kevin smirked. Look, I don't have time for stories. Pay up or get out of the line. You're holding everyone up. Arthur felt a spike of anger, hot and sharp. Decades ago, he had faced down dangers that would make this boy faint. He had worn a uniform, carried responsibilities, and seen things no one should ever have to see, all for the country that this young man now so casually dismissed its tokens of appreciation. He thought about his comrades, those who had made it back and those who hadn't. He thought about the promises made, the sacrifices given, and for what? To be called a scammer in a hardware store over a 10% discount? He took a slow, deep breath. He could just pay. It wasn't about the money, not really. It was about the principle. It was about the disrespect. If he walked away, or just paid, Kevin would feel he was right. He would do this to another veteran, and another. I would like to speak to the store owner, or at least the general manager, Arthur said, his voice now devoid of any warmth, but still polite. Kevin leaned back, crossing his arms. They're not here, and they tell you the same thing. This coupon is trash. He picked it up and, with a deliberate motion, tore it in half, then into quarters, and let the pieces flutter into the waste bin beside his register. Problem solved. Arthur stared at the torn pieces of paper. That simple act of tearing felt like a personal insult, far greater than the words. He felt his hands clench. He had a choice. He could make a loud scene, argue, demand, or... He remembered something. A small card tucked into his wallet, given to him at a veterans outreach event a few years back. It had a phone number on it. For when you're not being heard, the retired general who gave it to him had said with a grim smile. Sometimes, the official channels need a little encouragement. Arthur had never used it. He'd almost forgotten about it. But now, the memory was clear. He nodded slowly at Kevin. All right, he said quietly. He stepped away from the counter, pulling his old flip phone from his pocket. He moved to a quiet corner of the store, near the large bags of mulch, the earthy smell oddly calming. He found the card. The number was for a special liaison office within the Department of Veterans Affairs, one that dealt directly with businesses and organizations regarding veteran welfare and benefits programs. He dialed. The phone was answered on the second ring. Federal Veterans Advocacy. How can I help you? The voice on the other end was female, crisp and professional. Arthur explained the situation briefly, calmly. He named the store, the location, and what had just happened with the coupon and the young man claiming to be the manager. He didn't raise his voice. He didn't embellish. He just stated the facts. "You served, Mr. Johnson?" the voice asked. "Yes, ma'am. 22 years. Army," Arthur replied. "And this coupon was issued through the NVSN program." "Yes, ma'am, it was." "Thank you, Mr. Johnson. Please stay where you are, if you can. We'll look into this immediately. How long ago did this happen?" "Just now, maybe 2 minutes," Arthur said, glancing at the clock on the wall. "Understood. We have an office not far from that location. Help should be there very shortly. Please wait." The line clicked off. Arthur closed his phone and leaned against a stack of fertilizer bags. He waited. He wasn't sure what to expect. Maybe a phone call to the store owner. Maybe nothing for days. He watched Kevin at the register, smirking as he served the next customer, occasionally glancing over at Arthur with a look of triumph. What do you think Kevin will do when help arrives? Type your guess in the comments. About 5 more minutes passed. Arthur checked his watch. It had been roughly 7 minutes since he ended his call. He saw Kevin point towards him, whispering something to a coworker, who then also looked over and snickered. The humiliation was a bitter taste in his mouth. Then Arthur heard it. A different kind of sound from outside. Not just traffic. Sirens, but not police or fire. More like the quick, subtle whoop of official vehicles. The front doors of the Build-Right Hardware Emporium slid open with a hiss. 2 men and a woman, all in dark, conservative business suits, entered the store. They moved with an air of quiet authority that made heads turn. They didn't look like shoppers. They looked like people who were used to getting answers. One of the men, tall and imposing, scanned the store, his eyes briefly meeting Arthur's. He gave a very slight, almost imperceptible nod. Then he headed straight for the registers. Kevin was in the middle of ringing up a customer. He looked up, annoyed at the interruption, then his jaw visibly dropped. "Kevin Richards?" the tall man asked, his voice low but carrying easily. He wasn't shouting, but there was a steel in his tone that made the air crackle. Kevin swallowed hard, his face paling. Yes? Can I help you?" "We're from the Federal Trade Commission, working with the Department of Veterans Affairs, Office of Consumer Protection," the man said, flashing a badge so quickly it was almost a blur, yet its effect was immediate. "We've received a complaint regarding the refusal of a federally recognized veterans discount and the destruction of said coupon at this establishment by you." Kevin's eyes darted around like a trapped animal. He looked towards Arthur, then back at the stern-faced agent. There must be some mistake. I don't remember." "You don't remember Mr. Arthur Johnson, whom you accused of fraud and whose valid discount coupon you tore up approximately 9 minutes ago," the woman agent interjected, her voice sharp. She held up a small, evidence-style plastic bag. Inside it were the torn pieces of Arthur's coupon, which she must have retrieved from the trash. Kevin's face went from pale to a sickly green. It looked fake. We get fakes all the time. "Is it store policy to destroy a customer's property if you suspect a coupon is fake, Mr. Richards?" the second man asked, pulling out a small notebook. "Or is it policy to accuse veterans of being scammers without verification?" By now, all activity in the front of the store had ceased. Customers stood frozen, watching. Other employees were slowly emerging from the aisles, their faces etched with alarm and curiosity. The tall agent turned to Arthur. "Mr. Johnson, would you confirm that this young man is the individual who refused your discount and destroyed your coupon?" Arthur, who had walked calmly over, nodded. "Yes, he is." "And he identified himself as the manager on duty?" "Yes, he did," Arthur confirmed. The agent turned back to a now trembling Kevin. "We'd like to speak to the actual store owner. Immediately." He's not here," Kevin stammered. "He's at a conference." "Then get him on the phone," the woman agent said. "Now." While Kevin fumbled with the store phone, his hands shaking so much he could barely dial, the tall agent addressed Arthur respectfully. "Mr. Johnson, on behalf of the United States government, I want to apologize for the treatment you've received here today. Your service to this country is valued, and this kind of disrespect is unacceptable." He then spoke, his voice louder now for everyone in the store to hear. "Mr. Arthur Johnson served this nation for 22 years in the United States Army. He is a recipient of the Silver Star for gallantry in action, 2 Bronze Stars for valor, and the Purple Heart. He retired as a lieutenant colonel, This is not how America thanks its heroes. A collective gasp went through the onlookers. Kevin looked like he was about to faint. His earlier arrogance had completely vanished, replaced by sheer terror. If you believe heroes deserve our utmost respect, type never forget below. Just then, a harried-looking man in a golf shirt and slacks burst through the doors. What in Sam Hill is going on here? I got a call. Feds? In my store? This was clearly the owner, Mr. Henderson, red-faced and out of breath. The lead agent quickly and calmly explained the situation, from the refused coupon to Kevin's behavior to Arthur's distinguished service record. Mr. Henderson listened, his face growing grimmer with each word. When the agent finished, Henderson turned to Arthur, his expression one of deep mortification. "Lieutenant Colonel Johnson," he began, his voice shaking slightly. I am so profoundly sorry. There are no excuses for this. None. What happened here today is a disgrace to my store and to the values we are supposed to uphold." He whirled on Kevin. You told him you were the manager? You tore up his coupon? You insulted a decorated veteran?" Kevin could only nod miserably, tears welling in his eyes. "You're fired, Richards," Henderson snapped. "Clean out your locker. I don't want to see your face in here again." He then addressed the other employees. "Let this be a lesson. We honor our veterans here. No exceptions. Any discount, any program, you treat it as gold, and you treat the person presenting it with the highest respect." Henderson turned back to Arthur. "Sir, please, allow me to personally gather your items. They are on the house, all of them. And please, accept this store gift card for $500 as a small token of my deepest apology. And we will be making a corporate donation of $5,000 to the National Veterans Support Network in your name." Arthur was taken aback by the swiftness and sincerity of the apology and the actions. "Thank you, Mr. Henderson. That's very generous." "It's the least I can do," Henderson said, his face still showing his shame. "We will also be implementing mandatory retraining for all staff on customer service, with a special emphasis on recognizing and honoring all veteran and military discount programs. This will never happen again in my store, I give you my word." The federal agents seemed satisfied. They took statements, confirmed the store's commitments, and then, as quickly as they had arrived, they departed. Arthur finally got his gardening supplies. Mr. Henderson himself loaded them into Arthur's old pickup truck, shaking his hand repeatedly. As Arthur drove away, he didn't feel triumph, but a quiet sense of justice restored. He hoped Kevin learned a lesson, not just about losing a job, but about respect. He hoped the store, and maybe others who heard the story, would think twice before judging someone by their appearance. The community garden flourished that year, thanks in part to the supplies from BuildRight. And the story of the quiet veteran and the day the feds showed up became a local legend, a reminder that true honor isn't always visible on the surface, but it always deserves respect. Never judge a book by its cover. The quietest people often carry the greatest strength and the most remarkable histories. Respect for one another, especially for those who have sacrificed for us, is a currency that never loses its value. What did you think of Arthur's calm approach? Let us know in the comments. And if you believe in standing up for what's right, please subscribe to the channel for more stories like this. Remember, a little bit of kindness and respect can go a long, long way.